Coach John here. In this video, I'm going to explain and demonstrate how to do the barbell deadlift. There's a couple types of barbell deadlifts. There's a conventional, where your feet are roughly shoulder width apart, and then you have your sumo stance deadlift. The most important thing to consider when you're doing any type of deadlift is to focus on maintaining a neutral spine. The best way to herniate a disc is by rounding your back or by flexing your lumbar spine while lifting something heavy. So unless you have a really good reason to do that over and over and over again, I wouldn't recommend it. Outside in the real world, of course, we lift things from the floor. We don't have a choice. But in your training, you should try and have the best movement possible. Before getting into the deadlift, there's a couple things I want to cover in terms of how to approach the bar and what you should do before you actually lift the weight up. So there's something called a lifter's wedge. Essentially, you're getting into a position and you're getting really tight so that you have good support for your spine. So what it involves is you're going to squeeze the bar as hard as you can, and you're going to rotate your hands so your thumbs are going upwards. What this does is it helps to activate your lats, which are an important core stabilizer. The other thing that's important is how you grip the bar. So it's common practice to see the bar gripped like so. This is essentially so people can handle heavier weights without their grip giving out. I don't recommend doing this in training. I recommend a double overhand grip, also called a pronated grip. This is going to improve your strength more, and you have less chance of maybe tearing a bicep or having some imbalance because you're always in this position. When it comes to lifting the bar, you want to focus on using your glutes. So you're going to hinge back. Your hip hinge is essentially a deadlift. Squeeze your bum. Make sure you're activating those muscles. The other thing, imagine having your feet gripping the floor, and you're going to think of turning your feet outwards like this without actually doing it, but you're going to do that into the floor. And that's going to help to activate your glutes more as well, which can improve your performance. And that also helps to keep your knees from caving in. So you want to keep your knees out like this so they're tracking over your toes. When lowering the bar, many people drop it, but that's a total waste of time. We want to train the lowering. Outside of the gym, we actually have to put stuff down. We don't just carry a container, groceries, and then just drop them. So we need to train the eccentric portion or the lowering portion of the movement, as well as the lifting or the concentric portion. So we're not just going to lift it and drop it. That requires a lot less work. And we want to do work when we're training because we're trying to improve ourselves. So I will demonstrate how to lift and lower the bar. In terms of how far should you, or what height should you lift the bar from, it depends on your individual hip anatomy. So not everyone can or should deadlift from the floor, because not everyone can deadlift from the floor with a neutral spine. Like I was saying before, unless you have a really good reason to deadlift from the floor and round your back, I would not recommend doing it. So the reason I have this on blocks is so that I don't have to go down as low. And by not having to go down as low, I don't have to round my back when performing the deadlift. Something called rack deadlifts is where you essentially have the barbell on the squat rack and you can set it to whatever height suits you. So what I'd recommend doing is look in a mirror So imagine I'm looking at a mirror right now, and I'm looking at my lower back, and you can put a finger on your hips, or kind of your sacrum, and your thumb on your lumbar spine, and you can feel the movement. So as I go back, I can feel that it's starting to move, and as I get down to about here, my hips start to roll in. So that's rounding of my lower back. If you do this looking in a mirror with your shirt off, it's a lot easier to see. So ideally what you'd want to do is see how low you can go without rounding your lower back, and then just come up above that position slightly, and that would be your beginning position for your deadlift. So I'm going to demonstrate a few repetitions on here. Approach the bar, hinge back. I'm going to grab the bar just outside of my knees, just like so. Double overhand grip. Squeeze the bar, and now I'm turning it, so I'm engaging my lats, head up, and then I'm going to squeeze my bum, bring my hips forward. Don't arch back, don't lean back, just stand up to a neutral position. Then I'm going to slowly lower the weight, hinge back, and down. Hinge forward, hinge back. See, the bar is just gliding along my thighs, and then just as it passes my knees bend a bit more. Hinge, and hinge back. And I'm really focusing on squeezing my glutes as I hinge forward. And that's essentially how to perform the barbell deadlift and how to ensure that you are lifting with a neutral spine. If you have any questions, please let me know. And please share this video if you found it helpful. Thanks for watching.